Welcome back to your safe place, new friends. I'm gonna jump right into today's story entitled My Story of Surviving and Recovering from Abuse. I was in an abusive relationship with my girlfriend for 2 years when I was 19 to 21 years old. It was my first serious relationship, so I was pretty head over heels for the first few months. But things took a drastic turn the first time she ever got mad at me. It was over something incredibly trivial, but it ended up with her saying incredibly personal and hurtful things, as well as calling me useless. When you're that young, you don't really understand just how fucked up that is, especially when in TV shows and other media you see the same types of arguments, but I digress. Things just kept getting worse and worse as time went on until they hit their peak one night when she was drunk and hit me so hard I hit the floor. I had said a dumb joke or something that she didn't like, so that was her excuse. She was bigger and stronger than me, so I was scared. On top of the emotional and physical abuse, she would financially and sexually abuse me as well. If I wanted to cook at home instead of going out to eat, I was being selfish and not thinking of her. Or if I didn't want to have sex, I had to be lying since boys always want to have sex. On top of this, she was Caucasian and I was Mexican, so the amount of racial comments and hate speech directed at me was incredibly damaging. Thankfully, I got out of that relationship around early 2015, but the adjustment back into a normal dating world was rough, man. I started dating again a year later, but ran into a lot of trouble dealing with overcoming the triggers and other horrible memories from my previous relationship. My abuser one time even reached out and begun intimidating a girl that I had been seeing, which obviously led to the failure of that relationship. Things changed in April of 2016 when I met someone who was everything I'd ever wanted. It was the first time I was ever able to open up about the abuse I had gone through and was able to communicate the triggers and difficulties of dating. They were understanding, they were loving, and they cared. But because of how broken I was, I couldn't see it, unfortunately. I had this feeling of there was no way they actually loved me, or it's only a matter of time before they leave me, which hindered a lot of the relationship's growth. I finally started to go to therapy for my abuse, but the person I started seeing was rude and condescending, so unfortunately it went nowhere. They even downplayed the abuse I had gone through, probably because I was a man. But over time I began to see, feel, and accept that somebody actually loved me. We had a great life together, and honestly I miss him sometimes, but it sadly wasn't meant to be. All in all, my ex and I were together for 3 years until we went our separate ways in late 2019. It was an amicable breakup, but that came down to the differences of where our lives were going. They wanted to get married and move out to the West Coast, but I wasn't ready for marriage and wanted to stay put where we were since that's where all my family was. The final nail in the coffin was when we discussed kids. I wanted them. They didn't. I still talk to them from time to time and consider them a close friend, but sometimes I wish I would have been better and held on to them. 2019 was a big year for me aside from the breakup. I graduated with a master's and got my first job offer after that, and finally found a therapist to help me get past this trauma in my history. I was finally starting to love myself again and feel confident. I was finally starting to prove every bad thing my abuser said about me was wrong. Fast forward to the present day, I have a good, paying, stable job, better mental health, and a bright outlook on the future. But I have been lonely. I've just been wanting to find a good relationship again, but haven't had any luck with it. Unfortunately, this has caused a lot of past beliefs about myself to rear their head. You could say I've regressed. but I now am able to quiet those thoughts and move forward. With that being said, I did meet someone who's been on my mind almost every day. I was introduced to her through a mutual friend of ours, and originally we had all hung out together. Until one day, her and I decided to just hang out by ourselves. I made us dinner, to which I loved to cook, and we just sat and talked. This past December, she reached out to me randomly because she wanted to see if I would like to spend New Year's with her. I, of course, said yes, and we just hung out again and talked. Over the course of this time together, I revealed to her my story of abuse. It was one of the few times I've ever sat down and talked about it intimately with someone. She's come over a few more times since then, but I still haven't had the courage to ask her on a formal date. But I am planning to do it soon because I don't want to let this opportunity slip away. I may not know if she's romantically interested in me, but I'm tired of fearing things. I've spent so many years in this mindset of there's no way someone likes me. Even if she does like me, there's no way she'd want to be seen with me. That I, for once, just want to take the chance. Even if she says no, it would be worth it because I would have done something for myself. Plus, I know we'd still be friends here regardless of that. It's just nice to have this confidence that I haven't had in years. I guess my point in telling my story is as a way to tell others that it gets better and to really get this all off my chest. Right now it seems hopeless, but believe me, you're not what your abuser says you are. I think back to when I was younger and how I wish someone was there to comfort me, and I want to be that person for somebody else. We all have meaning and we all deserve to be loved, and really just thank you for reading this. I hope it helps you as much as it helped me to finally share this. I'm just so happy at the possibility of being a part of a community for this. I'm willing to be a friend to anyone who ever reaches out to me or needs help. That's who I've decided that I am. That brings us to the end of the story, kids. I mean, it was a hell of a tale. It's not the worst we heard, but it's not the best we've heard either. I mean, really, the end of the story sums it up. They just want to be heard, and they want to let other people know that they've gone through stuff, and if they're going through it, then just keep on fighting. Get yourself out of that situation, because things can most definitely improve and get better. But you have to be the one to step out of those situations and want better for yourself. But if you like the story, kids, hit the like and sub buttons to make this your safe place, and I will catch you in the next video.